Matt mutes everybody. I'm just assuming that you guys don't have anything other than, because we just met last week. If you do, put it in the chat and they'll call on you. But otherwise, I'm just going to do Matt for the gallery show. And I'm just going to talk about the field trip again on Saturday. But I don't think we have any other business. But again, if we do, put it in the chat, and if you're on the board, and I'll call on you. So you can go ahead, Matt, and mute everybody.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. So welcome, everybody. I definitely see a bunch of names that I don't recognize. So welcome. I don't know George Talbert, Jacqueline, Hope Polite, welcome. Robert Guido, Ami, I've seen you before, Ami Zohar. I believe you're from NIMAC. Darla, welcome. Let's see, we've got Brenda, welcome Brenda, and Dottie, Anita, and Eichel. And let's see, boy, I've got two screens here. Deb Bear, welcome. Not sure who Pete is, he may be one of us. John Francis, welcome. Ivy, Robert Hamilton, welcome. Bonita, welcome. Nice to have lots of visitors. And we're looking forward to the presentation tonight. Just to mention, any of you kind of last call, Saturday, we are going on a field trip to the Abbott Marshlands. We're going to be meeting at the lake. I just sent out an email to those people who did sign up. If you have not signed up and you want to go with us this Saturday, 2:30, it's in Hamilton. We are going to be there at 2:30. So just either put it in the chat or send me a quick email and I'll send you the information that you need. And yes, John, I had forgotten in the chat, John we have a Pinhole Photography Day coming up in April. So that is kind of, we probably should let John talk about that real quick, Matt, because that is coming up and we're gonna, otherwise really, it's going to be awfully close when we get to March. If you could just unmute John for a second.
John.
Just look for the bright screen.
There he is. He's unmuted.
I think I'm unmuted. Okay, just a quick mention that Worldwide Pinhole Photography Day is on Sunday, April 24th this year. And we have participated in the past. Those of you who still have a pinhole cap would remember basically what is required. You take a pinhole photograph that day with your camera, and then you have about a month or so, sometimes 2 months, to upload that picture. And it's not a competition. It's not an exhibition. It's just a participation thing. I think last year there was about 1,400 people worldwide that participated. And I think we had about 15 or 16 club members participate last year. So if you need a pinhole cap, contact me and I can make one for you. I think it was like $10, something like that. It was a donation to the club. So that's basically it.
Thanks, John. And you'll get something out so pretty soon.
Yeah,
right?
there was quite a bit of detail in the last newsletter, the February newsletter. And the last couple of pages, I had all the links, all the description, you know, all the details were in that last newsletter, February.
Okay, so you can go there as a reference.
Okay.
And Matt, can you talk about our gallery show?
Sure, we have a gallery show coming up at the Gorgon gallery right there in Cranbury. It's at the municipal building. We're going to hang our photos on April 1st, and then we will have to pick up our photos on the 29th. There is no opening reception, unfortunately, because of COVID and stuff like that. I believe they're not doing that anymore at the moment. The building is open now Monday through Friday from 10 to 4. So you're able, or 8 to 4 actually, I believe. So you're able to go and see the images then for the 3 weeks, 4 weeks of time. I will need to know if you're putting images in and the sizes they are, how much they are, and also what they are. So if you could send me an email if you're interested, hopefully I'll get an email out later today. Basically, you can just reply to that, and then we'll go from there.
Terrific, thanks. Okay, I think we are ready to introduce Sharon Farmer, and Sharon has an absolutely stellar resume here. She has been a professional photojournalist and exhibition photographer for more than 50 years, shooting news stories, political campaigns, cultural events, and portraits and conferences. She was the first African-American woman to be hired as a White House photographer, as well as the first African-American and first woman to become director of White House Photography Office. She served as the director of White House Photography from 1999 to 2001, and as the photographer from 1993, and that was documenting the beginning of the Clinton and Gore administration. In 2016, she received the Karsh Award at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. The award was presented by Esterlita Karsh, the widow of noted portraitist and photographer Yusuf Karsh. And over the years, she's photographed for the Washington Post, Smithsonian Institute, American Association for Advancement of Science, and boy, a whole host of others. So we are very honored to have her here, and looking forward to what she has to tell us about photography, and hopefully a little bit about some of her background too, and what it was like to be in the White House and all those good things. So we welcome you, Sharon. Thank you so much for coming. And Valerie, thank you so much for getting Sharon to us.
Thank you guys for having me. I think there's no greater fun than to talk about photography, how we do it, what we try to get done, and then not to mention how we try not to get done by the powers that be that have other ideas about us that may not always be benign. You know about that, right? Some people are not for you. So you have to be your best advocate for your artistic rights, because the buck stops with you. What does that mean? That means you copyright your stuff, because a judge won't even listen to you if you haven't taken the first steps to copyright it at the Library of Congress. They make it painless. This is painless stuff that will put a feather in your cap before you even enter the courtroom, because somebody is transgressed across your artistic soul. So I want to mention that, because all photography is not good. Some photography will use all of us. But if you are talented, creative, like to talk about everything, don't mind competitions in photography, that's how we get better. How'd I get better? Competitions, talking about photography, asking people what they thought. And always when you ask people what they think, the more you're going to find out. So let's see here. Can you all make it possible for me to share my screen? So
You should be able to do that.
Boogie in here. Let's see. Let's go back to the Zoom. Boom. Boom. Here we go. Now share screen. Ta-da. Yes, this is the science fiction of it that I love. This is sci-fi. Yes, sci-fi is good fi. And then share. Bingo. Let's see. We're in the, aha, now. Boom. Boom, boom. I use a program called Photo Mechanic because it lets me separate things out and give myself a star system or a no star system to know what's good and what's bad. And it's a big help when you're trying to figure out what comes next. How do you decide what comes next? You have to look, you have to line it up. So this is my lineup for my discussion about how I did this. So I started at Ohio State. I'm a music major, but I got bit by the photo bug because I was curious. And one thing does lead to another. I joined a Black student newspaper called Archoke Times at the Ohio State University. And the only way you could have found us is because we were in the back of a gymnasium. You know what that means, right? Can't find us. So to go from that to him, last job on planet Earth I was ever looking for. Never wanted to work for government because government didn't seem to be for the people till I met him. So to find our little hole in the wall at Ohio State University in the back of a gymnasium, here we are. This is how we get in there. Small staff, and we're putting out the paper, 10,000 copies a month. And I'm the photographer. Now, I'm still playing music. I'm still a bassoon major, minoring in piano and clarinet with my bassoon. But it's exciting to be present when things are happening. We were a small staff. That's me in the bottom right-hand corner, about 40 pounds lighter, back in my heyday. Gotta have a heyday, y'all. Show before and after. And we had demonstrations on campus because when I got to Ohio State, there were more than 40,000 students on campus, and less than 400 of them were of color, international, or any place else they might be from. They weren't. So the folk who ran education decided they could tell us how best to do education. And we took deference about that. So we demonstrated and had signs, and we told them where to stuff it at. This is in the 70s. I'm a young thing. This guy was our mentor. Every campus organization has to have somebody who will sponsor you. A lot of people don't want to. They don't want to take the time. They don't care about you. But this guy cared about everybody. Charles Harvey Williams, originally from Cleveland, Ohio. He was the assistant dean of students, and he was advisor to more than 15 groups on campus so we could function, including the paper right there in his hands, Archoke Times. That's what was going on. Michael White and Matt became the first Black president of the undergraduate student government, and Matt, to his right, went on to become a dentist. He was the vice president. That's a Black and white coalition on the campus of Ohio State in the 70s. Miracle. The next year, to keep the coalition going, they talked me. I always say, they suckered me in to running for office too with Dennis Sargent, who was a real farmer. And I'm being sworn in as vice president to keep the Black and white coalition going. Coalitions are everything. Photographers, coalitions. To go on and work for this guy. And then Michael White is now mayor of Cleveland, Ohio. And we are celebrating the opening of the new Indian Stadium in Cleveland. Dennis and I work well together. We were just like, hey, Ebony and Ivory. When I left Ohio State, I came back to DC and started freelancing, goo gaga with baby photography, things I didn't want to do. I'm the photo finishing consultant at Snapshots, explaining to you why your film didn't come out. Yeah, I'm the sucker. But I knew why your film didn't come out. It was like teaching. I don't mind teaching. Teaching is fun. So Sweet Honey in the Rock is looking for a new person, new photographer to shoot their next album. And I showed him my portfolio, and Bernie said, why aren't you working for yourself? Whoa, light bulb goes off. A year and a half later, yes, I was. As Bernice and Sweet Honey grew, so did I. I go have dinner with my parents one day, and I'm sitting at the table with them. And my mother says, called the camera store yesterday. And I said, you weren't there. Yeah. They said, you've been gone. Yes. And then my father says, we did tell you not to leave your good job, didn't we? Yes. But you left anyway, we see. Well, yeah. And then I explained I got a good $10,000 bonus and felt real good about leaving snapshots and I want to try my hand at being a photographer. And my parents said, well, we've talked about this. We're going to pay your health insurance for a couple of years, pay your car insurance a couple of years. Let's see where you get with that. Oh, joy. If your parents give you a chance, you can do it. If the people who are telling you that you're working for, why aren't you working for yourself? You're supposed to go work for yourself. One thing does lead to another. And my studio skills got bigger. And then the spaces I could work in got better. Because if you don't try, you don't know. And then you meet all kinds of artists and folks who do all kinds of things. It's about the moment. Can you show this girl is killing it? And that her mates that she is singing with recognize she's killing it? Photography is still about the moment. If you can help your buddies out who are going to perform and sing, be a part of their let's get on the good foot crowd. My guys, performing, hey, let me shoot your picture for your PR and just give me photo credit. All that comes back in more good ways than I can begin to tell you. It's more than like giving the offering at church. It's more like really doing something that can help the folk you believe in as artists, as folks, as people who do good deeds. Take their picture. People need photographs all the time. And there's no better love than a photographer and their subjects. All of them. The things I get to see just because I'm wandering, no particular thing, but I see stuff. On one side, I see a woman walking alone. On the other side, it's guys as usual, talking with themselves. Fellas, you need to invite the women to come on your side much more often. We know stuff. Yes, we know stuff, no matter how old you get. Keep moving. There's nothing on television. I'm here to testify, except maybe Star Trek, Curiosity Channel, National Geographic, Smithsonian, Cosmos. I like Cosmos. But one of my buddies, Darla Davenport Powell, had done a story about 97-year-old Beatrice Ferguson being active at that age. And I'm working on a project called Songs of My People. And I'm looking for ideas about what to shoot. And Darla talks about this lady that does the hula hoop and rides a bicycle. I go knocking on her door. Hi, you don't know me, but child, she put off the hula hoop and she says, I ride the bike, but I fell last week. And I'm like, I don't even get on a bike at my age. Okay, badass. So she did her thing. And you know, when you do your thing and it feels good, that's how we live longer. That's how we stay in shape. That's how we stay friendly with the birds and the bees and our friends. Satisfaction, personal satisfaction after a physical thing. I don't know a better thing except a good photograph in your eyeball that makes you feel it and see it for days on end. That's the fun thing about photography. It's experiences, what you feel. You're so loved in your community. You didn't ride in a hearse. They walked you down the street from the funeral parlor to the church. George Adams was a wonderful, badass deacon in his community at St. Stephen's Church. There's a lot to be said about how we take care of ours, even when they're moving on. And the folks who are the street performers singing and playing their instruments as they leave the casket to the church. This is a wonderful Gray Panther. Sybil Moses, during World War II, she was a nurse for the USO and helping the colored folk out who didn't have as much help as everybody else. She went on to be a lobbyist for human rights and civil rights and for making Frederick Douglass House a huge memorial in DC. She and Claude Pepper from Florida, he's a congressman, they were the original Gray Panthers fighting for Social Security rights for our seniors. And for me to go on and work for this guy, oh, look at here. I wasn't looking for this job. I didn't like government. Government don't take care of nobody but everybody else. So no. So I didn't believe them when they called, when they said, hi, we're looking for you. Yeah, right. Which one of my friends are playing jokes is all I could say to myself. But as times went on, you know, people proved to you, yes, we're really calling you. Oh man, I ain't tell nobody. I just knew somebody's making a joke on me. You could feel that joke coming. But no, as time goes on, you're like, and the lady calls and says, my husband's gonna call you in a couple of weeks. She don't call. So I ain't telling nobody. Who wants to be embarrassed? Not me. So he finally called. He says, hey, my name is Bob McNeely and I want to hire you. Da, da, da. And I'm like, I ain't telling nobody. I don't believe this. Meet you where? When? What time? Yeah, okay, we'll see. Week before that time, he calls again. Da, 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 da. Okay. Lord have mercy. Yep, that was a roller coaster. So to get to work for government and I ain't looking for it, it's exciting. All the things you get to see and do, and you can actually nail the hats in the sky as the planes go by. This is at the Naval Academy. Wow. Yes, he didn't serve, but he's served in so many other ways. He loves the troops. You know, you talk about people who didn't serve. I got some talk for you. But he did everything he's supposed to do to make things work for the people who work for our country. I don't know how it gets better than that. That's why this serve stuff is a fraternity, a sorority, and it's due its respect because we're not strong without each other. Don't kid yourself. Photographers are stronger with each other. Not with the people selling you, but with each other. Hey, her father was dragged by the neck until his neck was separated from his body. This is James Byrd's daughter, and she has come to greet us at the airport because George Bush and the Texas state legislature and all the people who's supposed to be good would not talk to her about how to stop hate crimes from happening in good old Texas, okay? Hey, I've seen some tragedy because people keep doing mean things to each other. And this is not who we are. We're humans. We need to live better than this. I'm ready for the lions and the tigers and the gorillas to be in charge. I traveled a lot and you never knew where you're going to end up. On the staff at the White House, there was 4 of us, the head photographer and then 3 of us. And if you came in at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're following his schedule. If you come in at 8 o'clock, you're doing her schedule, which is Ms. Clinton. No matter where she does, where she goes, what she does, you may be with her all day. Oh, you're going to go out of the state. Okay. You learn to leave a go bag under your desk in case you're not coming back and not going home. But that's exciting too. I mean, how many times you get to do that like you, Batwoman? Hey, change up. So here we are in India for Mother Teresa's funeral, and leaders from different countries, from Ghana to Italy, the wives of different folks, they all came to remind people that, you know, people do sacrifice for the poor. This is in Ghana. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. You mean white folk with kente cloth on? Thought I'd died and gone to heaven. Yes, I did. But it's historical and people kept coming. When I turned around, looked and saw what was coming behind me, we had more than 100,000 people in the stadium and they were still coming. So you're hoping that when good things like this happen, that better things keep happening. But there are people who will get in the way of that if you let them. So always remember, take the side of what's good and do not side with what's bad. You know what's what. Your mama told you. No matter who comes, everybody gets their own separate interpreter. So we meet about stuff as soon as the official ceremony is over. So each one has listened for them. It's Chinese. Yes, you got to do your stuff as First Lady. Yes. What if the flower is going to be? What shall the ornaments be on the table? You can't get out of that stuff. Guys, you're a mess. You try doing that all the time. Getting ready for the meeting in the Oval. On the far right is Ellen Kagan, who's now the current member of the Supreme Court. It's great to see great people, nice people, take it to the next phase. Always help the good people. Don't help the bad ones. Help the good people. It's Mrs. Clinton's birthday, and she doesn't know we're getting ready to walk down this way and go celebrate her. You know, as first ladies go, she put her mark on stuff because she cared about healthcare. This health thing has not gone anywhere, and if anything, it needs more help. So keep in mind that the people that you think can help you, you know, you tell them you're gonna help them. Everybody needs some help to make good things happen. And if you're a photographer, then take pictures for organizations you believe in. If they can't afford you, at least get the credit off of helping somebody and having people say what a wonderful helper you were, especially if you're skilled at doing this kind of stuff. I help people all the time because that way I don't have to worry about do they get what they need. Good people need help to get what they need, especially if you need photography. Hey, my man Clinton and Kennedy. Yes, they were two of a kind. They thought a lot about the people. These are Delaney sisters. One was a dentist and the other one was a teacher. We visited them. This is down in Texas. We are enjoying Zell Miller and the good food that Clinton shouldn't be eating. Here we are at the UN. We're on our way to a meeting with the South African folks after we've just come out of the big discussion in the huge hall. This is Air Force One. It's a one big, wonderful flying office building. Who knew? And when you ride that, meetings go on just like you have not left planet Earth, okay? You still have things that have to get discussed and figured out. Is there life after the White House? Yes. I love everything, especially sports. My dad was a sports enthusiast when I was growing up. And I got to shoot boxing. I always liked boxing because that's what we watched when I was little. The cavalcade of sports on Friday nights, the Gillette series. And to be in there shooting it, basketball fiend too I am. We're big fans of the University of Maryland Lady Terps, the Washington Mystics, the Howard University Lady Bisons. Sports is an honest profession. Sports is also a very honest competition, especially when people do things like put their hands over your eyes so you can't see. You still dunk the ball. She's a bad woman. And remember, the taller you are, the more likely they're going to swarm you and try to eat you alive. But if you're good, you will survive. My sorority, Delta Sigma Theta, had a 100th birthday anniversary. And the Deltas came from all across the country, all across the world to come down and march down Pennsylvania Avenue in remembrance of the suffragette movement that we had taken part of when they made us walk in the back of the line. Y'all know that ain't right. And look at here. What's life without music? There is no life. What's life without TV? I can live with no TV, but I can't live without the music. This is Davy Yarborough and his wife, Esther Williams Yarborough. And they're a hell of a jazz duo. And they got this badass jazz band too. When you help other artists get their stuff done, you're helping yourself too. And you learn to appreciate all the beauty that's possible. So what you gotta do? Help everybody. It's a good thing to do. The more monuments you visit, the more ideas you may get about what you can do, but you don't know till you go. Everybody looks at things differently. Some of us are very happy to demonstrate against things we don't believe in. Other people a little begrudge you. In my neighborhood, we have block parties. And kids like to be in charge of adults and little kids, so let them. And if you're a young muscular man, yes, we want to know what you can do, muscles. Censorship in our lives can affect what we see, can affect what we do. If we are lonely, have nowhere to go, and we worry about more stuff than we need to, we have to look for salvation so that if we die a noble death, we will not be forgotten. In hope, let there be solace, be it with one, or with the crowd or with everybody in your neighborhood. We must march. We must vote so that we just might stand for something. I was a young kid once. I didn't know I was going to do a camera. I thought I was going to be a concert bassoonist. I still play my music, but I had more fun as a photographer. Because on the good days, I'm just walking around. You don't know what you're going to see. And as the sun goes down, even you too begin to take a rest. But remember, no matter what, take your tripod, because sometimes the planet is still moving. Thank you. Oh, gotta have a tripod for your own moon in your neighborhood. Oh, I always think of Vincent Price when I look at this one. Okay. Okay, escape. Stop share. Okay, anybody still awake out there?
Yes, we're awake. Does anybody have any questions? Sharon was on a roll there. Okay, so who was your favorite person that you photographed?
Favorite, lots of favorites. It's more the image of what it looks like, not based on who they are per se, but how they present themselves as you look for images to take pictures of. A lot of the stuff we shoot at the White House is not set up. It is people casually talking to each other, because in the end, those pictures are more intimate and shows how people think about each other. The stuff where you turn to the camera and you pose because we told you 1, 2, 3, is pretty much robotic and not, what do you call it? It's your safety card in case somebody blinked when you shot their picture and we're not expecting you to shoot it. But we do a little bit of both. We shoot formal portraits as well as the casual stuff, because the casual stuff says more about relationships than the pose stuff does. So we call the pose stuff receiving lines, because there are aids to line you up and put you in place. And then I give you 1, 2, 3 and shoot the picture. And that's for a lot of things that are fundraisers or causes to be dealt with for healthcare or for housing or for historical issues that are happening. People do deal with the causes they believe in, and that's a good thing.
Okay. What kind of, and the chat is hopping, so if anybody wants to come off mute, let me know. But what kind of photography do you do now? Street or landscaped or otherwise?
I do everything. Are you kidding? Look at here. Everything about photography is the best thing, because none of us look and see things the same. The other deal is that if you don't look, if you don't go, you're not going to see. You're not going to shoot it. You're not going to capture it. And you can go home that night going, I should have took that picture. I took that picture. That's how I like to feel, okay? I never feel like I don't want to take a picture. I'm peering, I'm looking. You're only as good as the last picture you took. And that's as good as you are. That's as good as you are. What does it mean? Tomorrow's coming. Take more images. What do you take images of? Whatever you want to. If this is not the ultimate in personal control, I don't know what it is.
So if you're taking so many pictures a day, when do you have time to edit them?
You make time. It's like anything else. You got to brush your teeth. You got to wash up. Don't forget your deodorant. There are things you do because at some point in your life, you understood how to set aside time for the things you wanted to do. And it's like anything else. If you want to eat, you got to prepare the food. If you want to feel good about your pictures, you better have taken some good pictures. If you want to commiserate over what you should have done and couldn't done, I've been there and done that. No fun. Okay. So I had to go to bed smiling. Yeah, I had a good day. Oh, I got that shot. I think I was gonna get it. Oh Lord, it turned out. Those are the things I'm living for. I mean, really, it's nothing worse than being bored to death and you still not hit 100 years old. Come on now.
Okay. In the past several years, what other famous photographers have you met and or worked with?
Everybody's famous because we're only as good as the last photo we took. None of us is a better photographer than the other. No matter which two images you put up, no matter who shot it, you're gonna like one better than the other. I mean, what more gratification can you get instantaneously than to be told yay or nay? I mean, I like that. That's better odds than poker got for you. So I like one or the other. And I don't think that you can shoot too many images and worry about what to edit. At least you know you're not watching stupid old television or somebody saying, I got the news for you. They lying some more. Look here. I've been in the belly of the beast. Take it all with a grain of salt, all of it.
Okay. I see the news on behind you though.
Listen, ignorance is not bliss, okay?
Another question is, what camera or cameras do you use and what are your favorite lenses?
I have 3 camera bodies. One is a D6 EOS a camera. The other one is EOS DX10. And then I have EOS 4th or 5th generation it is now. And between those 3 camera bodies, I can't go wrong. Oh, and then when I don't feel like carrying the heavy duty Rudy stuff, I have here a Canon GX. It's a small camera, but it's manual as well as automatics. I got a lot of options here. I have fun with this. I want to go incognito. You don't know I got a camera. Ha ha. So I use this a lot because it's not like it used to be when we were going to go see the Temptations or the Supremes or Luther Vandross. They didn't care about your cameras. Now they care about your cameras. So if you want to get in there and get a picture of the star that you love and worship, yeah, you have to carry something like that, but it's just like, I carry that. So, and the camera lenses, 16 to 35 millimeter 2.8 zoom, 24 to 70 2.8 zoom, a 70 to 200 2.8 zoom, and I also have 1.4 teleconverter and a 2x teleconverter. And then I also carry on my hip a 400 millimeter lens, because sometimes you just need that extra. And you have a lot of cushion now with these electronic cameras that let your ISO run to 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 ISO. So you have more options about how to take a picture that's steady, which I like. And then I also have a 300 2.8 that I use for the bigger jobs that I get. And by putting a 2X on that, I make it a 600 millimeter. Ow! F-stop is not a 2.8, it's a 4. But I can still up the ISO. Oh, it's so much fun. Hey, get it crystal sharp. Yes, you're a winner. Never hurts to practice, study, practice, study.
So I'm going to jump to the bottom and come back up. But Darla said you're one of her most favorite people because you helped her and you bring a lot of energy. You shot her dolls and events and everything in between, and she loves you for the people, and it shows through your photography. And your photography sings. So that's Darla before she leaves.
This is about relationships. No better relationships are to be had except between your fellow artisans, okay? Your fellow photographers, your fellow, I'm gonna play some music for you, your fellow dancers. The people who live in the arts live for the arts. And we feed off of each other for better and greater ideas about how to do stuff. You talk about a community of good feelings, good work, artistic stuff. You don't need no TV. No, you don't.
Okay. Jumping back up to a question. What was it like to transition from film to digital? And do you still shoot film or are you exclusively digital now?
I shoot both because I can. I still have my film cameras. I spent a lot of money for them things. They work good. I keep them in shape. So when I use film, it's black and white, or I still have color stuff. I bought a lot of rolls. Refrigerator keeps stuff fresh. So periodically I'll pull out the film camera and know I have 36 shots to try to do over the weekend. The digital stuff is more for like my customers, my clients who want it yesterday, and which means I got it edited that night to have it ready for the next morning. But that's part of the deal about how you move along to turn stuff over so you can move on to the next assignment. That's the photojournalism in me. The more stuff you do, the more things you see, and the better trained you keep yourself. You keep yourself in the moment. You keep yourself ready for the next shot. You think how to tell the story, focus on the story, and then also look where the light is coming in at and where the light ain't coming in at, okay?
Okay. Do you ever use a cell phone camera?
Listen, I'm beyond cell phones at this point. I'm no longer ashamed to say sometimes yes, because I didn't have this one with me. And rather than walk away disappointed I have nothing, yeah, I'm gonna use a cell phone. Not to mention one of my friends, I went to the Atlanta Photojournalism Seminar a few years ago to be the keynote speaker. And the guy driving me wrote this book about how to shoot pictures with your iPhone, gave me a copy. I have a whole new respect for what all that is, okay? Camera's a camera.
Somebody said, will you ever retire? They hope not, but.
Retirement is death. If you like living, if you like stretching your muscles, if you like fresh air, if you like dogs yipping at you because they know you're alive and other people don't think you're alive, I'm fine with it. Retirement means what? Retirement is a word. I don't even acknowledge that. Retire for what? That just says set me up to die early. Ain't happening. If you keep moving, they can't get you, okay?
Sounds like a plan.
Yep.
I'm trying to scroll up and see if I missed anything because it was moving fast. We already talked about your cameras.
And whatever you like to shoot, that means you got to hang out with those people that you'd like to shoot. If you don't hang out in the elements that make decisions about who gets hired to do stuff, who gets asked to do stuff, then you're not going to be asked. You will not be asked sitting at home. And if you go to a community festival or a program that has to be supported through city or government funds, and you meet people who have goals about how they envision things getting done, see if you can't help them out now and then. Because in helping them out, you help yourself out to be a pillar in your community. And sometimes all they need is an image. Really. Given that people want $1, $5, $10, $50, $75, $100 for all this other stuff, we can give up a little photo now and then, can't we, y'all? Yeah, we can. Let's do that. Let's help these nonprofits get to the next phase. Because they're taking care of the things that you and I are not taking care of.
Okay. A couple people have already said they want to meet you. So I will share with the group. Sharon has her own camera club. And Sharon, maybe you can talk about that a little bit. They meet at the same time that we meet, which is why we're on an off week. However, we are off in the summer. So maybe if things open back up and they are meeting in person, we might be able to go down and meet Sharon and the people in her club. But Sharon, please talk about your club if you can.
Oh, the exposure group. We started out as Positive Image, a wonderful literary type, you know, one of the writers who thinks all the time. Yeah. Ethelbert Miller helped a few of us get together saying, you all should get together because I hear Sharon complain about, some folk don't tell y'all nothing. They sure did. So I said, we need to get our own club. We can tell each other stuff. And some other folks said, yeah, we should do that too. So we did that. And so we're a little bit more than maybe 47 years old now as Positive Image. And then we incorporated almost 20 years ago now. So now we're the exposuregroup.org. And you can find us online, exposuregroup.org, all one word, .org. And not only are we friendly, we're good competitive photographers, and we're about the art and the business of photography. I cannot begin to tell you guys how many rooks and crooks they're out there waiting for your images. And I'm glad I'm the person that reads the fine print, especially when somebody tells me for $120, we're going to publish your picture in this book about photographers. But you don't get no say on nothing. And if we decide to license this to another entity within our group, we can, and we don't owe you no money. Did y'all hear that? No. Now, let's talk about things that keep us safe. First is copyright. Get as many images as you can that you like. Never mind if they're the baddest ass thing that you like. And copyright those things through the Library of Congress. It's not going to kill you. For what it costs, you could have had 2 bottles of good wine, okay? That's the more business practices. There's a wonderful, wonderful photographer named John Harrington. His first book was called Business Practices for Photographers. The next book was called More Business Practices for Photographers. And then the latest edition is called The Best Business Practices for Photographers. Why do I bring this up? Because people will have you sign away your mama, your dog, your cat, your fish, and the food in your refrigerator if you do not read what these people are asking you to sign away. Now, how do we stay safe? We read stuff like this and say, this is what the language has to say. You don't get to change it. That keeps you safe. Somebody can't screw over you. Do people screw over artists? Ask Van Gogh. He got rid of the ear, didn't he? You understand, right? Okay. So that book, who's it published by? Rocky Nook, Rocky, R-O-C-K-Y, Nook, N-O-O-K. And it's the best business practices for photographers. Some folks try to get me to sign something that's saying that no matter how much money they made off of my picture being in the book, they can make anything they wanted out of it. They can spin it off to another subsidiary and collect all the money they wanted to. So I politely told them where the stuff is at, and then I wasn't going to sign that, and I didn't want to be in their book, okay? It's okay to say no. Believe me, it's okay to say no, because it beats not sleeping at night. Okay, next question.
So I'm just going to piggyback on that. Did you have a lawyer look at that, or was that language plain enough for you to be able to figure out what they were trying to do?
That language is plain enough for me to go, hell no.
Okay.
And especially when you compare it to the examples of what they call the best deal for the photographer, and they spell it out in that language. So when you see a bad deal and you see a good deal, believe me, you know which one is which. And the book that John Harrington has put out in 3 editions, it spells all that stuff out. And you shouldn't be shy about using your Bible. You know, there's more than one Bible in the world, you know. This is the one for the people who really want to do business in photography and not get screwed. Okay, hello, I'm safe. Be safe. You be safe too.
Okay, hold on. Let me roll up here. I saw a couple other questions.
And everywhere I go, I got a camera because I don't want to be waking up 3 o'clock in the morning going, shit, I didn't get that picture. If I see a picture, I'm gone for it. I pull a car over. I go get out, go look, go see. Because it just takes a little time. And time is of the essence for any photographer. That's the other thing about if you're driving someplace and you see the best background in the world and you say to yourself, the only thing I'm missing is a person. Well, if you don't have somebody in the car next to you, then you have to go sit on a rock or sit on the ground or sit someplace unobtrusive as you wait for something or someone to go past that spot that makes that a picture. It's not empty space all the time that makes a picture. It's a body, it's a living creature, be it a dog or a cat or a person, moving through the scene. Size relationships can be seen with a person and a building. You can't tell size with just a building.
So you wouldn't Photoshop a person in if you didn't have time to sit there and
Oh,
wait?
now see that? I don't Photoshop people in. I'm more a photojournalist. What I see, I'm not looking to alter stuff. I think it's more fun to capture the game, as we say. I like to capture what I see, not what I set up. Only thing I consider set up is portraits. That's set up. And then, Sharon, show us working hard together. Sure. Do y'all like each other? You do. Can y'all get closer together? You don't want to be with him. Would you mind stepping over there with her? Oh, that's okay. Okay. So you learn dynamics and you find out who don't like nobody. Some things you go shoot. And then you're the peacekeeper. Photographers are great peacekeepers. Never give up that skill. They're looking to leadership that's creative. And that's you, the photographer. When in doubt, what do we do next? Photographer, take charge. Take charge, photographer. Because you can get it your way.
Okay. How has COVID-19 affected you this past 2 years?
Wow. I have 2 storage places with all the stuff I've shot, negative slides through the years. And it makes me spend 4 days a week, 2 at each day, at those places, because I'd hate to leave somebody with this stuff and they go, what's that? What's this? What's that? Oh my God, no. And the best archivists and historians are the ones who are putting stuff away now. I'm surprised at who already got started. And I'm like, well, hell, I'm really behind because they started 5-6 years ago and they have stuff to show for it as they house it at George Washington University or Albany State down in Georgia or Spelman College. You have to decide where the stuff's going to end up at. I went to Ohio State. I fought with them people because they didn't treat everybody right and the same and they were unfair. So you had to go back and look at what that legacy means and what did it do for my life. The one thing Ohio State did do for me, and I'm not going to deny it, I learned how the world really worked at an early age. I didn't have to wait to get to my late 20s, my early 30s to figure out which way was up. Ohio State showed me that while I was there. And that's one thing I'm grateful for. I grew up quite early thanks to Ohio State and the other Black students who were there. And then the white students who were there who were cool, let me know there was a better world out here than what the older people were projecting. So I learned to leave old people alone. Yes, I did.
Okay. Another question, how much are you involved in the music part of your life?
Hell, half the day. Shit. We have a music room instead of a dining room. And I have a bass clarinet down there, a bass guitar, because I still want to be a funketeer. And I got a Yamaha DX6 keyboard. And in the younger days, we played all over the city. It was fun. And the older we got, more responsibilities. Part of our band left. One of them moved to Seattle. He was really going to be a Seattle man playing the drums. He played great drums with us. And then people start playing with other folk. And I get busy. I'm very fortunate as I work on all this stuff. And I can't go to the jazz clubs like I was going. My favorite place to go has always been jazz nights in Southwest every Friday. But we ended that a few months ago because COVID wasn't going nowhere. Now they say we're going to start up again in March. Well, let me just say this. Unless COVID is over, I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to be anywhere. I make myself very happy sitting in my keyboard, sitting in my music room. I put on red lights, blue lights, lights that change colors. I'm in the club. You know, I've transported myself. And then I go back to photography. There's a yin, there's a yang. And the bottom line is, we ain't sick. and we're not looking to be sick. So we're still wearing our masks. We act like the plague is full on, okay?
Someone wanted to know if you got married and with all this work that you were doing.
Say it again.
If you got married with all this work that you've been doing throughout the years, seemed like you were very, very busy.
I made a decision a long time ago. My parents worked equally hard with each other to make things work. When you end up with a boyfriend asking you where dinner is and he's been home 3 hours before you know you got the wrong person in your house. He got to go. So I had a choice. I can be a career girl in this man's world, or I can look for love among the ashes and ruins of relationships. Thank you, no. I knew what I wanted to be, if not a concert, but soon as I wanted to play in a band. I wanted to do great photography where people would say, please come take my pictures. Please do my wedding. Listen, if you're going to be an artist, be the best artist. And if you're going to be a knucklehead, don't be a knucklehead, because it doesn't pay off. But doing good things, good deeds, music is a wonderful outlet for me. This is why I'm not locked up, okay? I can go on my bass clarinet and be happy. And then the things I'm trying to discover about playing bebop jazz. Barry Harris, who just passed away a few months ago. Man, the man was in his 90s and he was still giving lessons once a week on Saturdays. Was I watching the lessons? Oh yeah, sitting in front of my keyboard, go, ow, keys to the kingdom. You gotta have outlets. I love photography, I love music, and I love good people. You don't get better than that.
No. And someone did make that comment. If you love what you're doing, you can make a living out of it and will never be considered work. Somebody asked, do you use any photo editing software?
I use Photo Mechanic to help me edit my stuff and put the metadata in. Lightroom, listen, Lightroom's a mind blower. I have enough problems with Photoshop. No. I like basic. Can I just lighten and darken? I'm not looking to change the color. I'm not gonna put somebody's head over here and the body over there. No. I just want to make good images for the things they have to get used for. But Photo Mechanic, it's cool. I've been using it, and Lightroom, I'm sorry, Lightroom cannot compare to what Photo Mechanic does.
Okay. Someone asked if we can see some of your best current photos. Do you have any other photos you want to show the group?
Let's see here. Let's see. Let's move this over here. Boom. Yeah.
If anybody wants to come off mute and ask a question, just raise your
Don't
hand.
be shy. This is your big chance. Don't be shy. Do not be shy. Let's see here.
Just go and make sure I didn't miss anything while you're looking.
Let's see here. Okay.
Do you find you take photos of a lot of musicians?
Yes, because I love, it's like, can you shoot the sounds you hear? You don't know till you try. And can you feel it after the fact? I mean, what does that feel like? That's different too. It makes life very, very, very interesting. And I just don't know a better way to spend time except to be happy about how I spend it. And the people that make that easy, I mean, what can I say? It's that kind of thing where you're happy, you're glad. This is from, I do a lot of receptions because DC is a reception town. And they get together, they eat, drink, and be merry. All that stuff stopped because of what we all had to do to be safe. And let's see, Sharon, you forgot to say share, go back, share, go back, share screen. Here we go, bingo. You, yeah, photo mechanic is my heart. Okay, start. So you learn when you're doing receptions, of course, there's always the group overall shot that establishes where you are, what kind of event it is. Some people are very personable. Yeah, take our pictures and like, let's set a tone. Are we having a good time or not? I try not to shoot people frowning. If you're having a bad day, I even come up to you and go, why are you having a bad day? And they go, huh? And then they go, how'd you know? I said, that's how you looked. You know, you tell people what you really think. And Lord knows they weren't asking you, but you have to show that people are engaged. Part of what gets me invited back to shoot the next year is how I shot it the first time. Some of my clients at this point are 30 years with me. And it's a happy situation when you don't have to wonder, are you gonna work next week? I don't have to wonder that. Now, what did COVID do? I ain't working next week. Matter of fact, I ain't working in the next month. Well, that goes to show you that it really does pay to save your money and to realize that at some point, your parents used to say, save it for the rainy day. I'm so glad I did. You know, I didn't know why. You know, I read the newspapers. I'm a mess. What can I say? I read a lot of science fiction too. And I think half of what I read in science fiction is the truth. Why is that? Because people's imagination allows science to happen. It allows you to understand botany and biology, understand prehistoric, and understand what the future is. I am so caught up in what the possibilities are. And I know the more I look at stuff, the better I feel about stuff. And if you look, that's curiosity. Curiosity ain't gonna hurt nobody. Now, if people hire you to shoot a dinner, you gotta show there was effort put into this. And that people not only had a good time, but the ambiance and the environment were pretty cool too. And you have to wait. You just cannot just shoot. You have to wait for somebody to give a smile, to give a glance, to make a movement. Because still pictures with no movement, boring. So you're waiting for a reaction. Everybody's lined up to do their thing. And you are the photographer that's going to make this last way beyond this event. It's a fun event. What happened to me after they saw all this? More work. I like more work. When people ask you to come work because of something they saw you did, I don't know a better exclamation point about what you're trying to accomplish as an image maker. Do you want to be self-satisfied? You want to make a little bit of money? Want to make a lot of money? You want to make people happy. You have to decide what kind of photographer you want to be. A documentarian is a great thing. History is wonderful. Community is wonderful. But the best thing is always the feelings between human beings. Can you show that? If you can show feelings, if you can show what people thinking, and you ain't heard a sound, you're a badass photographer. You're gonna be all right. But you gotta shoot. And you have to take advantage of people saying, you wanna do this job? You don't turn it down, you say, yeah, I wanna do that job. Every job teaches you something you didn't know the last time, okay? Teaches you what to look for. Even gets to the point when somebody's blinking when you're about to take their picture, you saw the blink. It's like, do that shot again. So everybody's eyes is open. Sometimes you gotta tell them what was wrong by showing your eyes, okay? Show your eyes, don't be shy. Shyness is never good for a photographer. I want to testify. The more you move around, the more action you're gonna get. If you get stuck in one corner in one spot, boring, boring. Okay, why is it boring? Because nothing's changed. Either the light will not have changed, or the people that are there have now gotten like statues. They're not moving, they're not laughing, they're not having a good time. Move yourself if the picture is not working, because you are the photographer. And if you stay where it's still at, yeah, you got some stone cold statues, and that's not good for your business. People like happiness. I like happiness. Am I deluding myself with that word happiness? No. If I work toward what I want, I get what I want. Ain't nothing wrong with wanting to be happy. Not at all. Was I ever unhappy? Nope. Nope. Can't think of a time. Why is that? My parents raised me right. Yes.
So Sharon, how far away from these individuals were you when you were taking these pictures?
Either my 35 to 70 lens 2.8. I don't see much wide angle unless we're in the big room. Like this would be a 35 to 70 lens. So I'm looking to fill the frame and then just cut it just at the right spot. I don't try to include everything because including everything is boring. So you try to make a disconnect with a little jolt, but the shot's still strong. So I'm sizing stuff up. I'm looking at all four corners of my camera when I'm sizing up my picture. And then I'm telling me when to move. And I won't move unless somebody else is moving. So the young lady on the right-hand side here with the glass of wine in her hand is making a gesture with her right hand. That's when I shot. If she didn't move, had moved, I wouldn't have shot. I like waiting. Because it's like you're going hunting, but you ain't hurting nothing, you know? You're waiting for an exclamation point. Something that reaffirms not only do we know each other, we get it. You have to lay on that, wait on that. You got two eyeballs. One's looking in one direction, and the other one's looking in the other direction. And you're trying to decide which one's going to make the best shot first. I like those odds. I like that. These
Now,
are good old folk.
Do
Having good
you
old
print
times.
these? Do you print these or do you send them to them on a thumbnail or Dropbox or
No, I send them Dropbox because I can send large files Dropbox, and I leave them in the Dropbox for about a year and then I take them out. And now the Dropbox has a new system asking me if I want them to synchronize my stuff in the clouds. Wait a minute, I'm already paying for the server that Dropbox has. So what's this cloud stuff? This was double speak for another way for them to make an income. I'm about to move my butt over to WeTransfer and get the premium stuff that doesn't send me down rabbit holes. The last 2 weeks, Dropbox has not been my friend. and it doesn't, even chatting with the people online has not relieved my doubts about where I am, and it doesn't feel well. So I'm sure sometime next week, I'm just going to sit there all day and be crazy and get myself away from Dropbox, kill it all, and sign up for WeTransfer Premium. That's what I'm going to end up doing. I
what
don't
was
like
that?
people who make stuff crazy.
What are you going to switch over to?
WeTransfer.
Oh, WeTransfer.
I'm going to do
Yeah.
WeTransfer, the premium one, because it doesn't seem to have rabbit holes. I've been too much done in by Dropbox these last 2 weeks, and I'm a little disgusted.
Yeah, they've been asking for more and more money. So
I'm getting out. I'm done with them. When I got through getting, you know how you're trying to ask basic English words? Just, you can just really give a yes or a no. But the more words you put in there and I'm down another rabbit hole, I'm like, are you deliberately confusing me now? Now y'all get an F for this one. You get an F. I'm out. So next week when I got time to be there half a day, I'm just gonna get me out of there. Shoot, done with them. And that's Donna Shalila. Oh, and these are some mighty, mighty fine lawyers. They get stuff done. This is a reunion of the good lawyers of the world. That's all I can say. They have done wonderful things to make things fair for the handicapped. for the people who are not getting the education their tax dollars are paying for. So when you do a good job on dinners and things, people ask you, give you a card. I never give somebody my card. You know why? Because next time I see them, they're gonna say, hey, you got a card? I lost that card. And I said, oh, that's too bad. I don't have no more cards. I quit doing cards. How am I gonna get your number? I said, I'm gonna say the number and you're gonna repeat it and speak into your phone. How's that work for you? And it does. That's what I do now. Is it a little more personable? Yeah. But I'm not carrying cards anymore. For what? No. Show friendships. So fun. And you still got to get the program done. So people meet over food and they have programs and ceremonies. So it's how you depict. Did people have a good time? Uh-huh. What am I trying to show? Yes, a good time. It was not a funeral, y'all. We celebrating 50 years of trying to make all these wonderful things work for everybody, not just a few people, everybody. 50 years, any organization that's together 50 years is pretty serious to me. So that's that one in a nutshell. Let's see here, bingo. Okay, do escape, bingo. Any questions?
And while you're at these events, are you carrying just one camera or do you have more than one body? One lens?
I have at least 2 camera bodies, maybe even 3, depending on what lenses I brought. I also have a ladder. I learned a long time ago, if I was 6'5", I wouldn't have any problems, but I'm not. So at 5'7", it's just not enough. So I have a ladder that goes with me everywhere. I even ship the ladder to where I'm going when I go out of state. Having a ladder makes all the difference in the world about being able to clear enough space that gives the background the impact you want to have. If you can't clear some heads and your scene is getting blocked, you are not tall enough. And I will not stand there and take a picture that I know is cruddy. It's cruddy because I don't have a ladder, or I'm looking to stand on something. I've been known to hop around everywhere. And let me borrow that ladder that I saw sitting in the corner there and drag it to where I gotta go. But otherwise, I carry a ladder with me to all demonstrations, to all meetings, because I do work for the Brookings Institution. To get the crowd, the view of the crowd, looking at the speakers, talking about this serious heavy duty policy stuff going on. You cannot just do the back of people's heads. The backs of people's heads have to have some kind of composition too, so that you're shooting down a couple of chutes surrounded by heads, and then there's your subject in between everything, like my fingers are doing right now, framing my head. Looking at what else you can do to frame your subject beside the usual. We see lots of pictures where people are in the clear. Boring. Try to shoot in between people, in between their magazines or their writing utensils. I also have a L-shaped viewfinder, which lets me get a little bit lower without putting myself down there. So that right angle viewfinder lets me get even lower shooting up, so my pictures have more impact. So my photo jacket has a little bit of everything: extra batteries, not just the ones for the camera, but the AA for my flash heads, for my Canons. And then I also have an off the shoe flash, because sometimes what you got to do, it can't be right on the camera. That ain't working for you. No, you need to be able to pull your camera off to the side and up, or something different underneath. But another reason to have that tool called the off the shoe wire that will let you have the shoe up there, but you can move the flash someplace else and get a different angle with your light. The other things I do are I carry a piece of chamois. Chamois is leather, and I wash it in the washing machine when I first get it to get the oils out. And that's the best thing for me to use to remove dirt from my lens and not worrying about smearing something I don't want there. All cloths are not the same. And chamois, being out that really fine, skinny leather, does a great job and takes away that icky stuff that's gonna make your lens go, oh, you have to blot that out because something's on your lens. I like to try to have it as perfect as possible, so there's less follow-up to have to do in Photoshop. Photoshop is my friend, but I don't want to be with it all night. Okay.
Well, that's a perfect segue to the next question. Among all the gadgets that you own, is there something that you wish you had not bought, and why?
Not bought. No, because the bottom line is you don't know you shouldn't have bought it till you done bought it and then sat there for 5 years. I got a couple pieces like that, and they're lenses. One is called a lens baby. I don't know if you all remember that, but it allowed you to focus differently than the usual. Will let you stretch pictures out so that one part of the plane is totally out of focus, then the other part of the plane is sharp and in focus. You got to have time for that stuff. That's like playing with toys. I still had that toy. I have not played with it to its full potential. Why is that? I'd rather play the piano. I'd rather play the bass clarinet. But the idea of trying to quite get it like that, I like everything. I like too many things, okay? I even like cooking now. It's dangerous. That's dangerous. I'm turning into a vegetarian. It's not good. Not good at all. I like meat. My meat's going away. I live with a crazy person who likes no meat.
Okay. Is that crazy person ever your assistant, or do you use an assistant when you're at these
She's my
events?
assistant. She's an artist, so we trade off. She's an abstract artist. You know, artists know what to do. Believe me, you don't have to explain too much. You need help, you get help. It's the strangers in government land when you say you need help. They're like, what's the problem? I don't understand your problem. Artists understand everything. You can explain it just the way it is. They go, gotcha. Okay, ain't a whole lot of explanation. So yeah, Joyce, we've been together a long time. We got a lot of friends who are artists also, literary types, as well as visual artists, poets. We got friends who play musical instruments. So this is why I'm not locked up, okay? My protest songs are right here at home, right here. And I enjoy all that because sometimes you can make stuff up, even a song for the cat and the two cats, like Kit Kat and Coco. Where you going, Kit Kat, Coco? Come on here, y'all. You know, we talk smack. Keeps life interesting.
You need an assistant. Come run around with a ladder and cameras and whatnot. You need help.
You're always going to need help. The best fun thing about photography is that it's a group experience. We all learn together at the same time, especially at our exposure group meetings. We've learned not to talk over each other. We let each other finish our sentences now. We try to keep our roaring enthusiasm to a minimum until you get through explaining what you're trying to tell us, because we don't want to miss nothing. But the manners that are required to have the patience to listen to each other are the most wondrous things in the world, because we do way better than the UN knuckleheads and the people who have all these national security meetings. Artists, they actually listen to each other. I think that's the most wonderful thing in the world, because artists are strong. Artists make a better world. It's not government. It ain't no armament. It ain't about how much money you gambled and you lost. No, it's about what we do together. And artistic groups can pull the oars all together at the same time. There's room for artists.
Wonderful. I see I missed a question. There was a question about Dropbox and cloud storage. Was that a copyright issue, or is it just the difficulty of using Dropbox is the reason why you're not?
It's the
gonna use it?
difficulty of them not owning up to changing some terminology. It used to be they told you they kept your stuff on their servers. Now they're saying that they're syncing your submission to Dropbox not only to their servers, but to some cloud thing. And I'm like, what cloud thing? What are you all talking about? I thought my stuff was on your servers. Well, yes, but now it's also in the cloud, so your client can get anytime they want to. No, 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 no. I only want it on your service. I don't want it in the cloud. I mean, I don't even do Apple Cloud. The idea that no one knows nothing about a cloud, where it came from, how long it's going to be there, and who has the final control, it does not work for me. So this is why I'm going to move over to WeTransfer Premium. So I don't have to deal with anything but my hard drives, and then somebody who will do what I want. Transfer these files now and then leave me alone.
Does anybody want to come off mute? Did I miss anything? Or Sharon, do you have anything else? Oh, up there, I see one. Do you shoot in burst mode?
Only for sports. I won't burst nothing. Every burst you make is your shutter speed, your shutter losing one more action. And shutters are made, they don't have an infinite lifespan. So no, if it's not a sporting event that I gotta have, I am not firing no burst or nothing.
Does anybody want to come off mute? Did I miss any questions? Sharon, do you have any other pictures you want to share? Or any other
Oh, for
thoughts? Or
sure. Oh, we can always show pictures. Let's see here. Da, 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 da.
like that happy hour one? No.
Yeah, we the wild bunch. Let's see here. Brookings. It's a Brookings Institute thing. You know, think tanks can be boring, but depends on the topic and then how you shoot stuff. So I love think tank stuff because the discussions that go on are about stuff I wouldn't even thought about, okay? Now, the beauty of working with these wonderful people is I can do anything I want. It's okay with them. Bless them, screen sharing. All right, screen share. Did I go the wrong way? Here we go. So they act like regular human beings. They slap five, high five, because they seen each other, hadn't seen each other in a long time. They get their little coffee in. They have some discussions before things get started. I pay attention to detail because sometimes you never know who the cartoonist in the audience is. And when people come to speak about stuff, I'm trying to shoot the background as well as a little bit of atmosphere about giving you an idea how many people were there, how serious this thing was in the discussion, because everybody is an expert in their field. And I'm trying to capture what's going on. If you understand what's going on, how do you expand upon it? And the fun stuff about all of this is that it's off the record. If anything, C-SPAN comes now and then, besides me recording it, you also have Brookings Institution recording it, as well as if C-SPAN comes, it's going to appear on your programming 2 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the morning. But they're going to discuss these topics you're not going to hear about. And I find it fascinating that the challenge for me is to show what people are talking about, to get the audience and their reaction about what's going on. And did we have a good conference or not? Did it make sense what was going on? So because they do so many of them, I try to keep it moving. And I don't stay in one place. I'm in the back, I'm in the front. I got the long lens, I got the short lens, I'm on the floor, because everybody is reacting in a different kind of way. And when you're a think tank, you are not required to do anything but sit there and listen and ask questions. And then if people clap for you, oh, you hit something. Listen, it ain't easy to get people to clap for something that may be a boring topic, okay? So you have to wait for reactions because you don't know if there's going to be a reaction or not. But as long as I keep moving, I keep seeing things that are different. If I stay in one spot, then it's boring. I'm gonna see stuff over and over again that don't mean a hill of beans. But if I keep moving around, then I can show not only the audience, but some of the highlights of what's happening, how people are affected by what they're listening to. So That's the beauty of being at think tanks, because most think tanks don't have much movement going on, let alone dialogue. Everybody does not talk to everybody in these think tanks, no matter what the topic is. So when there's an enthusiastic group, that lets you know, not only are they thinking, it's gonna go somewhere. It's just not gonna get written up and left in a vacuum. If you had something that has new enthusiasm, go, don't stay. Do your job and leave. Don't take the bad part with you. Just remember, you tried to show they were doing good. Speakers are everything. How we dress is everything, not to mention gestures and facial explanation and where are we. Always got to show where we are and how many people might have come. So if you don't show all that, you can't really say everybody had a good time, because part of having a good time is looking like you had a good time. If you do not look like you had a good time, I ain't argue with you. Clearly you did not have a good time. But I think it's fun to see camaraderie in these fields of think tanks. And they got more women now than ever. Hey, guys, hey. We're all trying to make the world a better place, and we can do it together. We just got to give each other a chance. And that's the beauty of photography. You can show stuff people are not going to see every day. So what's our duty as photographers? Show the truth. Yes, we get along. We even love each other. It's helpful to love each other. And if we don't love each other, then we have to show some other things that may not be the bomb. You know, what does that mean, not the bomb? That means that sometimes what you think is cool ain't so cool. So you have to do other things to make it all work. And that's kind of hard sometimes. So we try to do things that make some sense. How does that happen? Well, you got to try. Nothing beats a failure but a try. And if you don't try, you don't know what's going on. So it matters. We always tell each other that kind of stuff. And tonight's Women Photographers webinar. Yes. Da-da. I showed y'all those. No, let's see. Foundry Gallery, Funk Parade, Gems, Golf Contact.
So while you're looking for that, a question came up and said, I see the images you're sharing are JPEGs. Do you shoot RAW or JPEGs? RAW and
No.
JPEGs, or just JPEGs only?
I just shoot JPEGs. When I found out how much space TIFFs took up and RAW, I was astounded. And honestly, I'm not going to spend money for hard drives like that. They keep trying to show me that TIFF is the answer. Honestly, I got a JPEG not touched. I'm going to be fine with it. And it takes up less space. TIFFs take up a lot of space. RAW is ridiculous. I'm not that kind of photographer. JPEGs take care of stuff, and I got high quality JPEGs. But I have a 12 terabyte hard drive is the biggest I have. And half of that hard drive is my backup. The other half takes on stuff. Now I've had this hard drive for almost 2 years now. I think I won't have to get another one for another 2 years. But my next step is literally to get hard drives that are solid state instead of the ones with the spinning discs, because they've pretty much proven now that solid state has less going wrong with it. Now I have 6 older drives, and the oldest one is about 12 years old, but they sit there, they don't do anything. I downloaded all the drives to some bigger G drives. So everything is pretty much on 4 drives. But like I said, the latest one is a 12 terabyte, and I'm not halfway through it yet. But my next one will be solid state, and the ones after that. Because I know we all know disasters that happen with photographers. And it's like, uh-oh, that ain't no fun, not at all.
Do you shoot videos at all?
Sometimes, but I'm not the video expert. When I was in school, girl, I got a D in video making, so I knew that wasn't my life, okay? So, and then you had to ask your friends to do things with you. And you know they got enough stuff to do without messing around with you. That's what I remember. That was not a good thing. This is at Howard University. One of our good buddies that passed away, and they had done a New Orleans funeral for him going out of the church. we had a block party and we let the kids use our instruments to try to explain to them how much fun it is to make a lot of noise and call it music. Hey. So you hook them up and you let them go wild. And of course, I love golf. So sometimes we go out and we hear that eagle was on the hole. So I'd come out there and take some pictures and go back inside till we move someplace. But the 8 years I spent with the Clintons was a joyride, because you see America like you've never seen it before. I'm really clear about how government works and how it does not work. And I'm also very grateful and thankful for all the federal workers who do take their jobs quite seriously. That's a good thing, because if we didn't have that, I could dare say we wouldn't have much of anything, just given how stuff just works. And stuff doesn't always work. When we were getting ready for the vote, Joyce and I both put on masks saying, yes, we vote, because all that stuff matters. So let's say we didn't get the shot right the first time. So I shot more in a few different kind of ways trying to get it right, right? So when you don't think you have it right, take the time. Just aim another direction. What's the background over there compared to over there? It makes a difference just to take the time. And you too can have fun and not be watching TV. We're big sports enthusiasts because all that stuff means good things for all of us. Because the more stuff you get to do, the more stuff you can have fun at. And if you don't do this fun stuff, you'll never know. So I don't know about you guys, but I am not going to go to my grave dead, okay? No, I'm going to make sure I did all I could do before I did it all that I could do. So all that stuff just makes sense. I'm a big basketball fiend, as I said, because basketball means that we're living and competition is always good. And if we compete, we ain't missing nothing. The competitive nature of women is just as serious as it is with the guys. And that's the beauty of all that stuff. I think it's a godsend, as we would say. But the only way to deal with stuff is to go to the game. I take my camera because I want to make sure the Sports Illustrated in me has not died. When I was growing up, that was my father's favorite magazine. And we all fought to see who could get to it first. So that was fun. So I'm still a sports enthusiast. The Washington Mystics, the Lady Terrapins, the Howard University Lady Bisons. It's just too much fun to be had, not to be denied. So I'm for all that fun stuff. Who wants a dull time? Not me.
So are you taking these for yourself, or do you ever take some of these for, these different organizations or clubs or teams?
I'm taking the sports stuff for myself. For the other organizations, if they ask me to. If they don't ask me to, I'm gonna take them. And then somebody will track me down and go, by the way, you were at this event, did you get any pictures? And sometimes the answer is yes. Oh, sometimes I'm messing around. Look here, I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta. And the Deltas came over to national headquarters because the building was open that day for people to come visit. And the Deltas could actually put a screen around their head and somebody take a picture. One of the Deltas did it for me, but I've been a proud member since the 70s. It's fun getting older. What can I say? To get ready for any clients, I got to set the lights up first. What does that mean? It means I got to run and get in place and make sure it looks okay, at least. Or is the light right? Is the light balanced? And if I don't do that, then I'm not going to know what I got. And I don't want to wait till the person is there and not have figured that out. This is my dental hygienist here. She has gone on to be a big kahuna in her school of dental science. So I did some shots for her so she could run for office with her dental group. And now she's the president of it. And this is over at Bowie State College in outside of DC in Maryland. So I like everything about photography because in doing this, you're really proving that you can get a lot done. And you can't get a lot done if you don't try. So I'm for trying. I do work for people like Common Cause, National Urban League, because demonstrations are powerful. And you have to say that you were there trying to do something more than the usual. Because if you don't show up, they're going to say you weren't there. So I always remind people, if you got a chip on your shoulder, you make sure you come to the demonstration so you can declare what you're thinking about. Because people are not going to get it. They want to, but they're not going to get it without a little help. So I'm for all of that. Just try to help each other. It just makes more sense like that.
When you shoot portraits, do you shoot tethered?
No, I don't. Tether's new for me. I remember the first time I saw it and I said, I got to drag more stuff into the studio. No, I trust that what I see on the back of my camera when I'm looking, it's going to be okay. And within reach of me to fix it in Photoshop when I get it home.
And are you thinking about going mirrorless?
Never. I spent good money for these heavy cameras that I dropped and still work. Sony and Panasonic ain't proved nothing to me. So no.
All right, that was the last question that came in. Does anybody else want to come off mute or throw anything else in chat? Sharon is on a roll tonight.
Well, the bottom line is, as an organization, it takes all the members of the organization to make things work. And leadership is wonderful, but leaders have to have followers so stuff gets done. And people have to be willing to take on a task or two, because in the end, it's good for the whole organization. We all benefit as creative people. There's a place called the Artist Rights Society. When you get a chance, look that up and go online and look at their website. People, because of the way the internet works, no matter where they live in the world, maybe even on Mars, you can get ripped off. Okay, so learn how to protect your rights, because there's nothing worse than an unhappy artist who's unhappy because they didn't do what they could have done. Okay, so think about preventive, like you got a cold, you get the flu shot, you got COVID, you wear a mask. There are things you can do to keep yourself safe. So think about it like that, because that always helps life get a little bit better. But don't be shy about it, because if you wait too long, it's going to be too late. So don't wait too long. Don't wait too long at all, because it's just better. Oh yeah, I've turned into a Zoom shooter too for some of the clients I had. That's the other thing. Look at here. Okay, so they can't see you in person. All right, but you can shoot them. And they can say, this is who showed up. Now, this is not the best action in the world. So you have to wait for their mouths either to be open or them making a hand gesture. That's a drag sometimes. But the other deal is, what you end up learning is like, how can I liven this bad boy up? So what I did was, let's see, where's journalism? JUI, here we go. 21, where's it? 22, last night, yes. Ta-da. Malcolm Nance is a talking head on a lot of the programs, and he knows stuff, and he's been in Ukraine recently. So this organization goes online and talks about the latest news going on. And you got some famous authors here who have been in the business a long time. And we have this discussion. And in order to make the pictures a little bit different, I put some refracting glass in front of stuff, because it's boring to look at the same old stuff all the time. But you try to come up with different ways to do things, because if you do it, then it stays at least a little bit interesting. We used to meet in person, eat, drink, and be merry, and have the discussion about whatever the topic was. And that's not happening right now because of the COVID stuff. So we hope to have COVID, be done with it soon, as we would say. We want to be done with COVID, yes we do. But that's one way of looking at things. Any questions?
Yep, that actually leads into a question that someone asked. Can you talk a little bit more about what your exposure group does?
We do 5x5s. You have 5 minutes to show us 5 images, And then we ask you questions about it. So it teaches you how to talk about your work, how to think about some things that you didn't think about, but some members of your group are. And we're nice. We don't hurt nobody. We're just trying to teach you something kindly. So people have ideas, and we discuss the ideas. And then we talk about when we're going to do our next book, because we've got one out we did years ago, and it's time for another one now. And then what other kind of virtual exhibition possibilities are. One of them led to a piece of my work being sold for a better amount than I thought it would have. I'm like, wow, cool. Yes. So we'll do some more of them. So the other thing is we talk to other photographers, no matter where they're from. We get online with Zoom, and we have the conversation about how things get done, what we should think about. There's some projects in the offing that some of us may be interested in because it involves old DC history. The other thing is that the contracts they let to do that stuff sometimes goes to folks from out of town. So they may have the skills to get it done that we don't have to get it done, but we don't know that. So it all depends on the luck of how people find out about you. As an image maker, the way people find out about me, find out about you, is to make sure, number one, your photo credit is on your image, not just buried deep. You get photo credit that says this picture is by. So when somebody client says, well, what else you done? Show what you done with your photo credit on it. Okay, that's first. Number two, if you do not take the time to go out with a camera to any event, you don't have to worry about people looking for you, okay? Because you didn't take any pictures. So if you're just going to go, might as well stay home. But if you go to an event, take your camera, act like you're looking for a good hit on this, okay? Try to take an interesting image for your next exhibition or show and tell. By showing and telling as a photo group, we have bragging rights with each other. We can talk trash and not hurt nobody's feelings. It's fun. It's like playing the dozens, but nobody's crying, okay? We improve each other by having discussions about the photography that maybe you didn't think about, because all of us have different kinds of experiences, different kinds of equipment, different kinds of ways of solving a problem, or even making a problem. We can do that too. Yes, we can. So, but we're a friendly group because learning together is way more fun than learning by yourself. I think about all the times I'm on the computer crying. Nobody knows what I'm going through dealing with this. Child, I have to keep my tears to myself. Any
So
other
someone,
questions?
yep, someone asked, what did you use for number 38 there?
Number 38. Oh,
The little face.
I used a prism. When I go to, see the refracting, let me see the refracting in that. I put my lens of this camera, because it comes out a little bit. You see that? I put that over top of that, and it makes the stuff refract. And it's fun because it keeps the pictures from looking just boring. Okay. So it's more interesting to me to do stuff that's different, because otherwise, I mean, how many pictures can you look like this and think you're doing something? So you have to, that's the fearless leader of my group. That was Benita Bing. The fun thing about all this stuff is the more you do, the more you can get seen. And then people who come to the meetings don't get left out. So if you got to at least show up, we can say, well, look who is there. It's an important tool. And refraction, just to break it up. So I do things in different groups. Besides doing the horizontal, I do the vertical. I even do off kilter, because it's boring to see the same thing over and over again. It's Dullsville. So I try to make it. That's Malcolm Nance, my hero. He's an expert on Ukraine. Yeah, boy. So the more stuff you shoot, the better you get at everything. And don't be shy about it. And ask people what they think of your work. Because if you don't ask, you're not going to know. And people sometimes are worried so badly about hurting your feelings. They're not going to tell you what they really think. And the bottom line is, don't you want to know what they really think? My cat, yes, okay. Okay, this is raw. It says CR2. What am I gonna do? Turn it to a JPEG? What am I gonna do with a raw image? No, I'm gonna turn it into a JPEG. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes. How much of your photos have been copywritten?
Pretty much all of them. The further back in time I go from the 80s, I'm finding more stuff. So I'm gonna send another batch off to be copy rated, because that's the only way you have a leg to stand on. There's so much crazy stuff going on in the media world. The government doesn't want to deal with it because it's just, if you didn't take the step to do the first step, they're not going to take the next couple of steps. They made that pretty clear.
Do you copyright the original image or the one that you edit?
The one that I edit is what I copyright. I don't try to copyright every image. One, because it's not that good. Only thing I want to copyright is the good stuff. You know, there's a limit to being able to, how do you put it? You can't really just do stuff. You have to figure out a different way to do it. And it's better that the things you find significant be the ones copyrighted as opposed to the one that's almost there, but it's not the one. I don't want work out there that's just almost, but not the one. No. It's better to do what you think is best. And the way you do that is decide, okay, that's the one out of all of them that nailed it. That's the one I want to do. So that's what I do. It's just better like that.
And there's another question. How many photos can you put in a group? I'm assuming that's in a group to copyright, but.
Oh,
I think when I did, I don't think there was a limit as how many you can just upload at one time before it times out.
But somebody told me that it changed in the last month and that the
boy.
deadline ended, I think, at the end of December. I'm not sure now, so, because it's been at least 2 years, maybe almost 3 since the last time I did a batch, but it's about that time.
Do you do that on a certain time period? Like every year you do a bunch of copyright, or just?
No, indeed. When you march to the beat of your own soul, you do it when you feel compelled, like most stuff. When you're working for you, you do what you feel like. And that's the beauty of being on the planet, as opposed to other ways of looking at things. I don't look at them like that. Do I feel like doing it? If I feel like doing it, yeah. If I feel like I don't have enough to go through that, or I got some other things that taking a priority over that, it's okay. It will come in its own time. So, and given what I've already done, I'm just like, hey, this is too cool. That you can do it at all. We've come a long way. We've come a long way. Yes, we have. Come a long way.
Yes, we have. We're getting a lot of kudos in the chat.
Oh, let me also say, whatever you're shooting in front of you, fool yourself sometime. Just flip around and see what's behind you. Sometimes the scene behind you is way cooler than the scene you think you're shooting in front of you is it. Nah. Remember, the body turns in 360 degrees. That means take your eyeballs 360 degrees to make sure you're not missing something that may be significant. And just because it's behind you doesn't make it less important. I have been so surprised through the years to just turn around and go, whoa. And I turn around sometimes.
Yep. Had a teacher said, look up, look down, turn around. Don't just look straight ahead.
There you go. And when in doubt, you don't want a boring picture, either go up high and shoot down or get down on the ground and shoot up. Eye level ain't nothing, okay? Nothing. You want to have a strong shot? Go down to go up to go down.
And Rose looked it up. It's 750 photos per submission for copyrights.
That's way more than it used to be, y'all.
All right, we're coming up on a 10 o'clock hour. We didn't even take a break. We were rolling along so well. Nobody complained. That's a good part.
There's lots to talk about when you talk creativity, no matter the culture, no matter the craft, because it's your brain at work that's telling the rest of yourself what to do with you. And when you have results for what you did with you, you're halfway home to having a decent portfolio. And like anything, the more you show your work, the more people will tell you what they think. And when they tell you what they think, listen to them, because it's going to teach you something you wasn't looking for. Lord knows I've had that happen to me many a time. But the other part is it adds to what you didn't think about, the nuance of what you've shot, the nuance of what you're presenting, because you think that's what it is, does not necessarily make it that for your viewer. So the dialogue of how we talk to each other about images and life, and do you like this or not like this? Do we care about what we like with each other? Oh yeah, we're a wild bunch, we care. So having the dialogue of disagreement, having the dialogue of being inclusive, having the dialogue of, what did I miss? I know I missed something. I'm looking at this image, something's missing. What do you think? Huh? You have to ask those questions. And if you don't ask those questions, then you're leaving yourself out of a learning lesson, and you're leaving your person you're talking with out of their chance to have a learning lesson. Learning lessons never stop. Don't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter the topic. Doesn't matter what year it is. Learning doesn't stop. So you want to get better as an image maker? Take pictures. You want another career? Believe me, you'll like this one. Just give it a chance. And 3, if you like to be in charge of yourself and not have other folk in charge of you, hey, this is a good career. So think about how you see yourself handling your own midlife crisis. Because once you've had a midlife crisis, honestly, there ain't no more crisis. Midlife's pretty serious. And if you read those books, those self-help books about how to stay on the good foot, how to have a happy composure, I always say that's by the work you do. So if you do good photography, your composure is going to be happy. If you like playing music and you smile when you play music, you're going to be happy. If you like hanging out with positive people and positive people like hanging out with you, you're going to be happy. So what does that mean? The happiness is in your corner. So you have to do things for you that make you happy. It's not selfish unless you leave other good people out, then that's selfish. But if you include other people in your happiness, you're a good person. And that's what photographers are, good people.
Okay. So we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna make hopefully two quick questions. Where do you show your photography other than your camera club?
Anybody putting on an exhibit. If the terms for doing an exhibit are good, I'll show, because it's doing me no good in the dark. And the more the work gets out there, the more your reputation either grows or gets a hole in its plate. But the nature of the dream of being an artist is that you can take the good with the bad with the good, that you're even as a person, knowing that everything is not going to be a home run, but you can get to first base. And you may not strike out at all by the time you get to third base. But nothing beats a failure but a try. My mother always said that. And the idea about what you can do as a photographer is a visual artist. The more visual stuff you do, the better you're going to do. And if you don't take the chance on doing it, you're not going to know what you can do.
Excellent. And last question, I promise. I said, we know you like to do photojournalism, but do you ever do classic landscapes or abstracts?
If I see something, if I see it and it hits me, I'll take the picture. Will I do much with it? If there's not a person in it, I'm gonna see how long I can sit there, stand there, walk around there to find something going across my frame beside empty space. I like something moving within the four sides of any frame of an image, even if it's the waterfall. But I'm pretty patient about if nobody's coming, nobody's there, I'm gonna call this my Zen time. And I'm just gonna wait on it because the best photographers are the ones that have the most patience. That's one thing I've learned.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sharon. It was a pleasure having you. Like I said, a lot of great comments in the chat where they said you're very inspiring, a lot of energy. They love your smile. They like your
My
humor.
mom and dad, yeah, they did that. Yep.
All right. So thank you very much. I'm going to have Matt come back on and Debbie come back on. Stop the record and see what's next.
Better pictures, better pictures, better pictures.
All right.
Thank you very much, Sharon. On behalf of our club and our other guest clubs that have joined us tonight, this was absolutely wonderful. And I know I had a great time. And I heard my husband in the other room. We do this on separate computers, and he's just been laughing his head off for 2 hours. So I think we find you very entertaining. Thank you.
Oh, thank you guys for taking the time. Really, somebody had to tell me, and I love photography because they told me.
Great.
Excellent, excellent. So Matt can stop recording, and